Car loans are typically the second highest debt the average American consumer pays for, accounting for 9% of consumer debt. Americans pay on average around $729 per month on their new car purchases. The problem is, by the time you finish paying for your car would have already halved in value in the used car market. So why do people pay for a new car knowing that it'll decrease in value?
It all started with the Ford Model T, or more specifically, the cheap price of the Ford Model T. Henry Ford's perfected assembly line allowed for the Ford Model T to cost $260 in 1925, which is around $4,200 today. Damn, I kinda wish cars were priced like that now. Due to how cheap cars were, America decided to build its entire infrastructure around the automobile. This would widen streets, introduce large parking lots, and eventually form our interstate highways.
The US's infrastructure promoted the use of the automobile to the point where you pretty much needed a car to go anywhere you wanted to. Literally, it would take me 30 minutes to walk to my nearest Walmart, and I only live 2 blocks away. I'm not doing all that for some damn pomade. This would indirectly cause America's infatuation with car culture. Now, I'm sure you've seen all these super nice cars on social media or just when you drive by the street. They stick out and shine within your dreams. The newer and cooler cars are a signature of wealth. If your car looks more expensive, you're seen as someone who's very rich with stable income. Even a damn Tesla could be seen as a sizable income, or at least in my circumstances. But is it even a good idea to buy these new flashy cars? Okay, before some of y'all click off because you don't give 2 fucks about the consequences, let me at least make a point about why you're making a bad decision by buying these new cars. Although cars often represent wealth and prestige, they're often one of the biggest wealth killers for many Americans. The average price for a new car is often sold for the low price of $47,401. A used car's average price is almost half of that at $26,533. This is due to a car's value depreciating over time, which kinda sucks if you're trying to resell your new car. Now, some people, they may view their car as an actual asset. It can get them to work and back. It helps allow for groceries to be transported. It's a necessary part of life in the US if you really want to go anywhere, and I can understand these points. But 99% of the time, a car is really not an asset. An asset is what generates money and builds upon your wealth. A car does the complete opposite of an asset and is actually a liability to most Americans. You have to pay for market value on top of interest while the car depreciates in value every minute. By the time you sell your car, it won't be nearly enough to the money you quote-unquote invested in. Now, there are many factors that could affect the depreciating value of a car. They could be due to its mileage, the condition of a vehicle, the demand for such a vehicle, and even the brand you're looking to buy from all affects the price. Looking at the statistics, a majority of cars follow this trend of depreciating value. Once you just take the car off of the dealership, it's already lost around 10% of its value. After the first year, it's lost another 20 to 30% of its value. Then it'll lose another 15 to 20% till after the 5th year, where the depreciating slows. If you don't really understand this, let me simplify it for you. After 5 years of a car being used, it'll drop down to half of its market price value, which is actually kind of insane to think about. It almost doesn't seem like it's even worth it to buy a new car. On top of the depreciating value, car payments are hella expensive. Auto loans aren't the only thing that comes to car payments. You still have to pay for insurance, fuel, and maintenance, which accounts to an average of 20% of Americans' monthly income. It's gotten so bad that reportedly 46% of drivers have had to sacrifice other amenities due to car-related expenses. This pretty much means you have to sacrifice eating out with your friends or going on a really nice vacation, but at least you get this really cool looking car. I really can't do anything with it, but at least I can flex it on my picnic day. 5 years from now, the car will seem very outdated, even though it's still very functional. So if you really want to know how to stop your wallets being emptied, how can we avoid overspending for a car and find one that fits within our budget? The first step is to actually change your mentality on the car. Don't give a damn about what other people think or say. The point of your car is to bring you from point A to point B, not to make you the top attention seeker when you see your friends. No matter how good your car seat may feel, or how much those compliments boost your ego, humble yourself to understanding what a car's true purpose is. That way, you can save money and don't have to feel so ashamed about owning a 2015 Honda Civic. That brings me to my next step, planning out your finances. You have to realize where you are in the tax bracket and how much money you make per month. This will ultimately decide on how much money you should spend on a car. You should aim to have your total car payments to be around 10 to 15% of your monthly income, and try not to do more than 15%. You already have a majority of your expenses spent on just existing, so make smart financial decisions with your car. Make sure to have some type of emergency emergency fund so that if there's any emergency repairs that had to be made, that insurance may or may not cover, you'll have the money to cover it, because you know how annoying they are. Now finally, it's time to buy a used car. Now typically, the older the car, the cheaper it'll be. Everybody's situation may be different, but my ideal age range for a vehicle is around the 3 to 5 year mark. This is the mark where the majority of the inflation has capped off while the car is still in good condition. You don't really need to spend too much money on maintenance and repairs, and insurance will be cheaper. On top of that, if you plan to move on from car to car, the value of the vehicle won't drop as hard as compared to new vehicles, often letting you take a small loss to avoid repairs and maintenance. The downsides of used vehicles really hit when you go past that 5-year mark. Cars down here typically have a very high mileage, which gives a high probability of expensive repairs to that vehicle. The good thing is that these cars are typically really cheap and sometimes a steal. You just really have to be educated on what to look for in a car to be considered functional. Well, I hope you found value watching this video. As much as you're helping yourself, I'm helping myself by researching all of this stuff and planning out for my adulthood. If you could just leave a like, comment down what I missed or what I did well, I would really appreciate that. If you want me to make more of this type of content in the future, consider subscribing to the channel and you may learn more about adulthood stuff while I'm growing up. So yeah, you can see content like this from me. Bye.